I was 10 years old when my sister Lily disappeared. It was the kind of evening you don't forget, no matter how hard you try. The sky was smeared with the orange pink of a dying sun, and the air smelled like cut grass and charcoal from someone's backyard grill. Lily had been playing hopscotch on the driveway, her blonde hair tied in two little ponytails, singing softly to herself. I'd gone inside to grab a popsicle, and when I came back out, she was gone. No scream, no skid marks, no doors slamming shut. Just gone. We searched the entire neighborhood, then the woods behind our house. The police came with dogs. Helicopters buzzed the skies. Flyers with her face went up on every telephone pole. For a year, her empty bedroom stayed untouched, as if she might just walk back in and pick up where she left off. But she didn't, and somehow life went on, or at least it pretended to. Mom started sleeping with the TV on. Dad got quieter, slower, like each sentence had to pull itself out of tar. And me, I stopped asking questions. That was my way of coping. Silence. Fast forward 12 years. I'm 22 now, back home after college, saving up before moving out again. The house feels smaller, not just because I've grown, but because the weight of what's missing has soaked into the walls. My old room still smells like dusty books and childhood sweat. Lily's door, though, stays shut. Always. It was during my third week back when I first noticed the cat. She was just sitting there on the porch railing. Midnight black, sleek fur, green eyes, so deep it felt like falling into them. I figured she belonged to a neighbor. But the next night, she was there again. Same spot, same posture, watching the door. Mom noticed too. "Oh, look at her," she said, cracking open a can of tuna without hesitation. "She's hungry. Poor thing. She's probably someone's pet." No collar. Mom set the plate down gently on the porch, like she was placing flowers at a grave. "I'm calling her Clover." My stomach nodded. That was Lily's nickname. She used to insist on being called Lucky Clover after some cartoon she loved. "Why Clover?" I asked. Mom just shrugged, but her eyes were watery. "Feels right." Every night after that, Clover came back, and every night Mom fed her. Soon, the cat stopped acting like Stray and more like a routine. Same time, same place. She'd wait until the porch light flickered on, then hop up, tail curling around her paws. One night, I stayed up late studying in the living room, headphones on, trying to drown out the creaks and groans of the old house. Around midnight, I looked up. Clover was on the windowsill, staring directly at me. I blinked. The curtains were half drawn, but I swear, I saw her tilt her head like she recognized me. Something about her gaze made my skin crawl. It wasn't aggressive. It was knowing. I got up, walked over, and pulled the curtain closed. That should have been the end of it, but things started to change. I'd wake up to find Clover sitting outside Lily's bedroom door, scratching. Not violently, just gentle, repetitive scratches, as if trying to knock. I told my mom. She just smiled. She misses Lily too. I don't know what bothered me more, the cat's behavior or Mom's growing attachment. She began talking to Clover like she was talking to Lily, singing lullabies, whispering little goodnights. One evening, I caught her cradling the cat in her arms, rocking back and forth on the porch swing. "You always loved this song," she murmured. "Didn't you, Clover?" I stepped outside. "Mom." She looked up like I'd yanked her out of a dream. "Oh, sorry. Just habit, I guess." But it wasn't just a habit. It was getting worse. I started hearing things. Footsteps in the hallway at night. Whispers behind doors. Lily's voice. At first, I thought I was dreaming. The mind can play tricks when it wants comfort. But one night, I was awake. Completely. I'd been scrolling my phone, couldn't sleep. Around 2:17 a.m., I heard it. A faint humming from Lily's room. It was her favorite song. Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Off-key. Childlike. I sat up, heart hammering in my chest. The next morning, I asked Dad if he'd heard anything. He grunted. "House is old. Pipes moan." But the pipes never sang lullabies. The final straw came 1 week later. I was in the kitchen, cleaning out the fridge, when I heard a thump upstairs. Then another, like something falling over. "Hello." I called out. No answer. I climbed the stairs slowly, every creak underfoot making my heart jump. The thumps were coming from Lily's room. That door had been shut for 12 years. I reached for the handle. It was slightly ajar. I pushed it open. The air inside was cold, unnaturally cold, like a freezer. The curtains were drawn, but light filtered in through the cracks. Dust floated like snowflakes, and in the center of the room sat Clover, just sitting, staring up at the shelf where Lily's stuffed animals used to be. I stepped in, trembling. "What are you doing in here?" I whispered. Clover turned to me slowly and meowed. It wasn't a normal meow. It sounded strained, like a child trying to mimic a cat's voice. My chest tightened. I backed out and shut the door. That night, I had a dream. Lily was standing at the foot of my bed, barefoot, wearing her favorite pink pajamas with the clouds on them. Her eyes were sunken, her skin pale, almost translucent. She opened her mouth, but no sound came out, just a faint scratching noise like nails on wood. I jolted awake, drenched in sweat, and at the foot of my bed was Clover, staring. I didn't sleep the rest of that night. How could I? Clover sat at the foot of my bed for what felt like hours, unmoving, just watching. Her green eyes glowed faintly in the dark, catching the moonlight through the blinds. I didn't dare move. I thought maybe if I pretended to sleep, she'd go away. But she didn't. When the first traces of morning lit the sky, she finally turned, hopped down, and disappeared down the hall. I closed my bedroom door and locked it after that. But the damage was done. I couldn't unsee what I'd seen. Couldn't shake the feeling that Clover wasn't just a cat. Not anymore. That day, I tried to tell Mom again. "There's something wrong with that cat," I said, trying to keep my voice even. She was in my room last night, watching me, and the other day in Lily's room. "She's just lonely," Mom interrupted. She was standing at the sink, peeling potatoes. "You would be too if you didn't know where you belonged." I stared at her. What does that even mean? She didn't answer. Instead, she began humming, the same lullaby, "Somewhere Over the Rainbow." That song had followed me like a shadow all week. Even Dad was starting to crack. I found him sitting in the garage one night, staring at the wall, holding an old Polaroid of Lily. When I asked if he was okay, he said, "I heard her laugh last night, like she was right in the hallway." We were all unraveling. Or worse, something wanted us to. I decided to do some digging. I pulled out one of the old photo albums Mom had buried in a box in a closet. Dust clung to it like mold. I sat cross-legged on my bedroom floor, flipping through pages of smiling faces and birthday cakes. Lily's grinning face showed up every few pages, stuck between memories like an afterimage. And then I saw something that stopped me cold. A photo I didn't remember being taken. Lily, maybe 5 years old, sitting in the backyard. Her hands were cupped gently in her lap, holding a tiny black kitten. The resemblance was uncanny. Green eyes, same sleek fur. I flipped the photo over. On the back, in my mom's handwriting, "Lily and Clover, summer 97. What the hell? I'd assumed she named the cat recently. But this wasn't just a nickname. This was a memory. Clover had been real, a real kitten. Years ago, and now here she was again. Older, or not. The next day, I asked Mom directly, "Did Lily have a cat named Clover?" She paused mid-slice, carrot shavings falling to the floor. "Of course. You don't remember?" I shook my head. "What happened to her?" Her eyes dropped. "She ran away. After Lily disappeared." My blood turned cold. "Wait, after?" She nodded. "The day after the search ended. We left the back door open by accident. Clover never came back. But she did. I could feel it. Clover never left. She just changed. That night, I locked my door and shoved a chair under the knob. I couldn't stand the idea of waking up to her again. I laid in bed, staring at the ceiling, trying to keep my breathing calm. Around midnight, the house fell deathly quiet. And then I heard it, scratching, but not at my door, at Lily's. Soft, rhythmic, desperate. I got out of bed and cracked my door open. The hallway was dark, except for the sliver of light under Lily's room. Her door was open. No one had opened that door in over a decade. I stepped out barefoot on coldwood. Every step felt like it echoed. "Hello," I whispered. No response. I approached the room slowly. Inside, Clover was pacing in circles, not like a cat, but like someone trapped in a cage. Her tail twitched. Her eyes locked on me the moment I entered. I stood frozen. And then she hissed. Not a normal hiss. It sounded human. A sharp inhale, strained through clenched teeth. It made every hair on my body stand up. I backed away slowly, heart slamming against my ribs. Behind me, a voice whispered, "She's still here." I turned, nothing. But I knew that voice. It was Lily. I slammed my bedroom door and didn't come out until morning. I needed answers. Not guesses. Not memories. Not dreams. Answers. I drove 2 towns over to visit Mrs. Gallagher, Lily's old kindergarten teacher. She'd retired now, lived alone in a tiny house with wind chimes that sounded like bones when the wind blew. She looked surprised to see me, but welcomed me in with tea and cinnamon cookies. "Your sister," she said softly. "Such a bright little girl. So full of light. I need to ask you something weird," I said. "Did Lily ever say anything strange?" "About Clover?" Mrs. Gallagher tilted her head. "The cat. You remember her?" "Of course. She used to bring her drawings of Clover all the time. Sometimes she'd say Clover could talk to her, that she told her secrets. I thought it was just imagination." "What kind of secrets?" "She said Clover knew things. About people. About the dark." My hands went cold. "She also said Clover wasn't always a cat." My throat closed up. I thought she meant in a storybook sense. Mrs. Gallagher continued. "But once she told me Clover used to be a girl, that she came from the trees." I stood up. "Thank you, Mrs. Gallagher." I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I watched Clover, sat in the hallway like a statue, just beyond my closed door. Every so often, she'd meow. But it was that same broken meow, strained, wrong, too close to human. On the 3rd meow, I cracked the door open just a sliver, and nearly screamed. Standing behind her, just for a second, was Lily. Older, pale, hollow-eyed. She vanished before I could even breathe. I slammed the door and fell to the floor, shaking. I wanted to believe I was losing it, that stress and grief were warping my brain. But deep down I knew Lily never left. She was trying to come back, through Clover, and something told me she wasn't alone. It was 3 in the morning when I finally accepted the truth. That wasn't just a stray cat sleeping on our porch. That wasn't just grief talking when Mom whispered lullabies in empty rooms. That wasn't just a hallucination when I saw Lily's ghost behind Clover. She was here, somewhere between the walls and shadows. And I didn't think she came back alone. I kept thinking about what Lily used to say, that Clover came from the trees, like she'd been found, or worse, taken. So that's where I went. The woods behind our house hadn't changed in years. The same crooked trees, the same path we used to bike through every summer, the same place where Lily vanished. The police never found anything. Not a footprint, not a shred of clothing. But we knew. We all knew. She walked into those trees and didn't come back. Now I was walking in alone. The forest swallowed sound. Even the wind felt muffled. My flashlight flickered weakly, barely illuminating the gnarled roots and damp underbrush. And then, somewhere deep ahead, I saw it. A light. Faint. Flickering. Orange. Like a candle. I pushed forward, my heartbeat pounding like war drums in my ears. And then I saw her. Not Lily. A girl, sitting cross-legged in the clearing. She had long dark hair. Her back to me. She was humming. The same lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow. "Hello," I said, voice shaking. The girl froze. Her head tilted, just slightly, unnatural, twitchy. And then she laughed. Not a child's laugh. It was hollow, wet, like something imitating a laugh it had never heard before. I stepped back, and the girl stood slowly, too slowly. Her body jerked as if each movement was being puppeteered. When she turned, I almost dropped the flashlight. It wasn't Lily. It looked like Lily, if her face had been sketched from memory by something not human. Her eyes were too wide, her smile too sharp. Her skin shimmered with something thin and wet, like stretched paper. "Clover," I whispered. She grinned. "Not anymore." Then she screamed. The sound wasn't made for ears. It was layered, human, animal, metallic, like a scream echoing through 1,000 dying throats. I turned and ran. Branches slapped my face. Roots tangled my feet. I didn't care. I had to get out. And I swear, as I fled, the trees moved, leaned in, closed around me. By the time I stumbled back to the edge of our yard, bloodied and breathless, the sun was rising, and Clover was waiting on the porch. Her tail twitched once, and then she walked inside, like nothing had happened. I told Mom everything. She stared at me, blank-faced, then calmly poured herself coffee. She came back. She said softly, "You should be happy." "That's not Lily," I snapped. She didn't look at me. She was lost. Now she's not. Let her be. I slammed my fist against the counter. She's not human, Mom. She's something else. Something pretending. Mom turned slowly. Her eyes looked hollow. "So was I," she whispered. I froze. "What?" She smiled. "We all pretend, don't we?" Then she walked away, humming. My hands were shaking. Something was wrong with her. Or maybe she was never okay to begin with. Dad was next. I found him in Lily's room, sitting on the floor, cradling Clover in his lap like a baby. "She talks to me," he said without looking up. "She says it wasn't my fault." I crouched down. "Dad, what are you talking about?" He looked at me with tears in his eyes. "She says she remembers the night it happened. She says she forgave me." My heart dropped. "What do you mean? The night it happened?" He blinked. "Lily followed me. I was drunk. I told her to go home. She cried. I left her there." He broke down. "I thought she'd gone home. I didn't know she went into the woods. I didn't know. I didn't know whether to cry or scream. All these years, I thought she was taken, that she vanished without reason. But she followed Dad. She trusted him, and he left her there, to die, or worse. I took Clover that night, stuffed her in a carrier, drove to the edge of the forest, my hands trembling the entire time. "I don't know what you are," I said, "but you're not Lily." The cat didn't move. Her eyes gleamed in the dark. "You don't belong here." I left the carrier in the clearing, walked away, didn't look back, didn't sleep. But the next morning, she was on the porch, again, waiting, like she never left. And when I looked into her eyes, I saw it. Lily, trapped, screaming. I was wrong. She didn't want to come back. She wanted to be saved. I started locking my bedroom door at night, not because I was scared of someone breaking in. I was scared of what was already inside. Clover scratched at my door every night now. Same time, 3:13 a.m. Soft at first, then frantic, claws dragging like nails down a chalkboard. But I never opened it. Not anymore. Sometimes I heard her whisper my name. Not in a meow, not in a voice, in something in between, like a child trying to speak through a cracked radio. Some nights I'd wake up to find my window open, even though I'd locked it. And on the floor, dirt, leaves, tiny paw prints. She was getting in. No, it was getting in. Mom had stopped leaving the house completely. She sat on the porch most days, whispering into Clover's ear like it was her toddler again, brushing its fur with Lily's old hairbrush. Dad had gone completely silent. He didn't talk. He didn't move. He just stared at the fireplace for hours on end. It was like something was draining them. And I was next, so I did the only thing left. I went back into the woods. I didn't tell anyone. I left at dusk, took a flashlight, a small backpack, and Lily's old necklace, the one she wore when she vanished. It had her name etched into it. I found it buried under my bed a few nights ago, tangled in Clover's fur. She didn't lose it. She left it for me. A message. The trees felt wrong, like they knew I was coming. I retraced my steps to the clearing where I saw her last. But there was nothing. No girl, no cat, no candle, just silence, until I heard crying. Soft, guttural. I followed it, weaving through roots and branches that seemed to move when I wasn't looking. The sound led me to a tree, but not just any tree. It was split open. A long vertical gash ran up the bark like a wound, oozing dark sap that smelled like copper and rot. And inside, I saw something move. Small, pale, shaking. It was a child, curled up in the hollow. Back to me, hair matted, bare feet filthy. She was humming. Somewhere over the... Lily, the figure froze. I stepped closer. "Lily, is that you?" The head turned, and I'll never forget what I saw. Her face was stretched thin, lips cracked, eyes glassy, as if she hadn't blinked in years. Her mouth moved, but the sound was wrong. It didn't match the words, like a puppet trying to remember how to speak. And she mouthed it again. "Help me." That's when the whisper came. Not from her, from behind me. "She's not yours anymore." I turned. There were others. Dozens. They stepped from the trees like shadows made solid. All of them wore the same blank expression, smiling. Wide, too wide. Some were children, some adults, some in between, and every single one of them had animal eyes. Reflective, gold, hungry. They circled me. No footsteps, no breathing, just movement, and Clover was among them. But she wasn't a cat anymore. She was walking on two legs, too long limbs, bent wrong. Her face still feline, stretched over something humanoid, twisted, her jaw unhinged as she spoke. She was given. We took her. I backed against the tree, heart pounding so hard I thought I might black out. What do you want? I yelled. Clover, or whatever she was, tilted her head. We don't want. We wait. I gripped the necklace tighter in my fist. She's still in there. I saw her. Pieces, Clover hissed. Fragments. Echoes of her. We wear them. Tears streamed down my face. You stole her. No, said a voice beside me. It was Lily. The real Lily. She looked me in the eye. I walked with them. I chose them. That broke me. My knees hit the ground. No, you didn't. She stepped closer. They show me everything. The lies. The secrets. Dad left me. You forgot me. Mom replaced me. I shook my head. We never stopped loving you. Lily's voice softened. Then why didn't you come sooner? I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. She was right. We fed that thing on our porch for months, and not once did we ask why it came, why it chose us, why it looked like Lily. We just accepted it, because it was easier than the truth. I looked at Lily one last time, and I knew she was gone. Whatever part of her remained wasn't enough. Not anymore. So I ran. They didn't chase me. I think I was the worst part. They let me go, because they knew I'd bring her back. I don't sleep anymore. I don't eat much, either. Mom talks to herself in the mirror now. Dad just stares at the floor. And Clover, she watches me. Every night, waiting, because I saw something in that forest. Something I can't forget. There were more trees like that split one. Hundreds. And in each of them, someone waiting to be found. Someone we'd already forgotten. I used to believe evil had a face. Something monstrous. Something you'd run from. But I was wrong. Evil purrs. It curls up in your lap and lets you believe everything is okay, even as it eats your family from the inside out. Since I came back from the woods, time has stopped working the way it used to. Every clock in our house is stuck at 3:13 a.m. Every single one. Even my phone, even the oven. I've replaced batteries, reset them, smashed 2 of them in frustration. Still, 3:13. That's when Clover first arrived. That's when Lily disappeared. That's when whatever this thing is decided to make itself at home. It's not a coincidence. I think we invited it in. Not with a ritual or a chant, but with neglect. With grief. With a hole we refuse to fill properly. And now it won't leave. I started recording everything. Notes, videos, photos, trying to prove I wasn't going insane. But every file deletes itself by morning. Every photo becomes static. Every video, just black screen and the sound of purring. Except one, the footage I caught last night. I had hidden a camera in the hallway, right outside my door. Wired it to an old laptop that didn't connect to the internet. Completely offline. At 3:13 a.m., Clover appeared. But this time, she wasn't alone. Lily stood behind her, eyes dark, lips stitched with shadow. And behind Lily, others. Children with blurred faces. Adults with backward limbs. Things with too many eyes and no mouths. And they were all staring at my door, waiting. Then Lily stepped forward. She placed her hand on the knob and whispered, "It's time." I woke up screaming. Laptop gone. Camera fried. My doorknob, warm, like someone had been holding it for hours. I knew then they wanted me to open the door, to invite them in, like we invited Clover. But I wasn't ready to give in. Not yet. So I left. Packed a bag, drove hours away. No destination, just distance. Ended up sleeping in my car in a gas station parking lot. When I woke up, there she was, Clover, sitting on the hood of my car, tail curled, eyes locked on mine. She had followed me, not like a cat, like a curse. I went to a church, small, dusty, nearly abandoned. The priest was old, eyes tired, but kind. I told him everything. To my surprise, he didn't laugh. He just nodded. Sometimes, grief creates doors, he said. and sometimes things walk through them. I asked if they could be closed. He hesitated, then said, "Only if you understand what opened them in the first place." I drove back home. I didn't want to, but I had to, because I realized what I needed to do. I had to remember Lily. All of her. Not just the cute little girl we lost, but the real her. The one who fought with me, who stole my hoodies, who cried when Dad yelled, who asked hard questions, who felt forgotten, and maybe was. I found her old journal, buried in a box in the attic. I sat there, reading every page as the sun went down. She was hurting, long before she disappeared, and none of us saw it. We were too busy being broken in our own ways. Mom with her pills, Dad with his whiskey, me with my headphones blocking out the noise. She was a child, and we made her feel invisible. And that thing, whatever it is, it fed on that. Used it to wear her like a costume. I whispered, "I'm sorry." That's when I heard it. Behind me. A voice. I know. She stood at the attic door. Lily. Not the monster. Not the stitched-up imposter. Just Lily. 7 years old. Wearing her favorite yellow pajamas. The ones we buried in a memory box. She smiled, sad and small, and said, "You can let go now." Tears spilled down my cheeks. "I don't want to forget you." "You won't," she whispered. "But you don't have to hold on to the guilt." And then she hugged me. The attic grew warm. Soft light poured through the slats in the roof. The smell of cinnamon, her favorite cereal. For 1 second, it felt okay. Like she never left. Like we were whole. Then she vanished. No scream. No glitch. Just gone. I went downstairs. Clover was waiting at the foot of the stairs. She looked at me, eyes tired. Then she walked to the front door, paused, and looked back. For the first time in months, she meowed. Just once. Soft. And she walked out, into the night, and never came back. My family's not perfect now, but something changed. Mom started cooking again. She threw out the old bowls. Dad cleaned the garage, even found Lily's bike and fixed it. We don't talk about her much, but we remember her. The real her. Not the shadow, not the mimic, just the little girl we lost and maybe finally set free. Still, every now and then, I wake up at 3:13 a.m. The clock still frees. The night still hums. And sometimes, I hear soft scratching at the door. I don't open it, but I sit with it and whisper, "I see you. I remember you. And I'm sorry." Then the night goes quiet. And I know, wherever she is, she hears me.